Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new series here on the channel called F1 2022 Road to Glory here, and you immediately see who we are driving for. We are taking Alpha Tauri hopefully to the top across this 16 round series here, starting with the Bahrain GP with this 2022 F1 mod here on F1 2021. The mod was made by Lucas351 on Race Department. I'll link his Race Department in the description so you can check out the mod. Here's all the liveries we have for this upcoming season. You can take a quick look at them as well as we try to take Alpha Tauri to the top and even beat the sister team of Red Bull Racing. I'll consider this series a success if we can get on the podium a few times with this team alongside Pierre Gasly, and maybe a race victory as well, and hopefully a top 5, maybe even top 4 in the constructors here, as we'll be working all season long to make some big gains in the R&D programs here. Now, as you can see, all these beautiful 2022 liveries. Of course, they look a little different on these cars because they're not the 2022 F1 cars there. As you can see, the beautiful McLaren, the Oracle Red Bull, as well as you're going to see the Mercedes that we'll be competing against. We have all the driver changes and whatnot as well. I used the F1 names changer little mod here for this F1 game to try and bring in all the changes for that. So George Russell is sure enough in Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas, he's over at Alfa Romeo along with Guan Yu Zhou. Alex Albon, he's over at Williams as well. Not really a lot of driver roster changes coming into the season, but obviously the ones that have made happen are there. So Kevin Magnussen as well. Very late change, of course, with the Haas situation, but we have got him in to the series as well in place of Nikita Mazepin here. Now we get our first laps underway in qualifying here with this Alpha Tauri team. Now, as I was hoping for a top 10 start here, as it's going to be tough. It's going to be a very tough start to the season. I feel like a tough Road to Glory series really in general, and I hope you guys enjoy the ride that we go on with this series here. Now, as I was P12 in my first lap of qualifying, but I would make a second attempt here on this soft compound tire, and I managed to find about 0.4 extra of a second compared to the first lap that I laid down. You see me get a little bit loose there on the exit of the final turn, so I give up some time, but about 0.4 better. We cross the line. We go P10, one spot worse than our teammate of Pierre Gasly, so clearly we qualified, I think, where we belong. 9th and 10th, George Russell will start on pole alongside Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton, of course, wants to get redemption after being robbed of a 7th world title in Abu Dhabi, as Verstappen wants to defend his first title. Let's head to the grid.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Norris, Sergio Perez and Ricciardo, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly and the Golden Boy, Fernando Alonso, Vettel, Lance Stroll and Ocon, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Ready to go then, lights out here in the season opener from Bahrain. We're wasting no time. We are ready to grid up and go. 5 red lights here in Bahrain for the season opener. It's going to be lights out. George Russell, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Perez, your top 4. It's not a good start for Russell or Hamilton. The two Mercedes drivers struggle big time. Verstappen to the lead here in the season opener in turn 1. Here comes Perez up the inside of that number 63 of Russell. 3 wide between Norris, Hamilton, and Ricciardo in the background there, but it's going to be Ricciardo coming out on top over Lewis Hamilton, who now drops down into the 5th position, the 7-time world champion. Not the start he was looking for here in Bahrain. You see there Perez trying to make a lunge up the inside of George Russell, but George was having none of it. The British driver in his first race here legitimately as a Mercedes driver. Of course, he's raced for Mercedes before at this very track here a few years ago when Lewis Hamilton got COVID-19 here now, but he is now a full-time competitor for this Mercedes team and competing for a championship alongside that 7-time world champion. Who will come out on top between those two in the series versus real life? I'm curious to see how that goes there. As you see Latifi as well as Alex Albon, the two Williams drivers, scrapping it out here, as well as one of my favorite liveries on the grid right there with the Williams now as they continue side by side here. The only side by side wheel to wheel battle we have going on here, surprisingly, at this point on this first and opening lap. Now Albon has a lot to prove. He got his second chance in F1 and he is not going to waste any time making it count ahead of the Canadian teammate of Nicholas Latifi. He goes, as for myself, not a great start, actually. We started P10, I dropped down into 13th place, just couldn't get the grip off the line, so we had some ground to make up. I waste no time making an aggressive move up the inside of the Spaniard of Carlos Sainz here down into turn 1, not where Ferrari wants to be. I would recommend, or not recommend, but I expect to see Ferrari way better IRL than versus this 2022 mod. There's actually got into the back of Carlos and surprisingly didn't pick up any wing damage. He continues to fight up the inside here into the right-hander, but we should be able to get that power down, and yes we do. The grip is on our side and up into the now 12th position we go. DRS of course getting ready to be enabled here now. A bit of a oversteer moment there on the exit of that final corner, just like qualifying, but we were really struggling to make our way forwards here now on lap 4. Lando Norris actually has the moment. He goes around in turn 1 and he comes to a dead stop right in the racing line. I come through around turns 1. I didn't expect to see that there. Up another position though because of that incident for Lando Norris, but it would actually bring out a safety car. So the safety car comes out and everybody was preparing to flood into the pit lane. But so far a solid start for this Road to Glory series with Alpha Tauri. Gasly having a really good run right now. We're only on P11 unfortunately, but we're gonna double stack, and pretty much everybody is double stacking here. So will we get out in a nice hole here, or are we gonna get stuck behind somebody here now as we get the tires on the medium compound? But well, we get stuck behind the rookie of Guan Yu Zhou, who's waiting on his teammate of Valtteri Bottas there. So I end up coming out, I think P15. Yes, it was P15 we would cycle out in. So we have a lot of work to do once we get back racing here from Bahrain, and now it would be less than 10 laps to go already here. Only doing 25% races for this Road to Glory series now as we were back underway just behind fellow Canadian of Lance Stroll here now. Max Verstappen in command, in control of the restart here. I'm going to look to the right hand side of the Aston Martin driver of Stroll down towards turn 1. Both of us are going to make big lunges down into the corner. Stroll and myself somehow managed to keep it clean, and we both gain a tremendous amount of ground right there down into turn 1. Verstappen leads over George Russell. Perez, Hamilton now in 4th place there as you see Ricciardo just in front of myself and Lance Stroll. I lunge up the inside of Lance Stroll and we will complete the pass right there, and already back into 10th place we go. So we gained 5 spots here in the first, what, half a lap? Not even half a lap here since the safety car had come in there. So a really good rebound already here. We're back into where we were. It just took us about a quarter of a lap to get there. So now we got to try and put the fight to the Australian of Daniel Ricciardo here now on lap 8. Coming to lap 9 though, George Russell, he's going to make a move alongside Max Verstappen here for the lead position as they head down towards turn 1. Perez are just behind now. He's closing in because they're side by side, wheel to wheel between the now one-time Formula 1 World Drivers Champion and, well, George Russell, who's looking for his first World Championship this season here now is Perez. He's going to fan out all the way to the right side. It's 3 wide for the lead down into the right-hander. Hamilton ready to pounce if something happens. It looked like maybe a little bit of contact actually between the Mercedes of Russell and the Red Bull of Verstappen. They continue wheel to wheel, but it looks like there's some downforce lost on the Red Bull there. Verstappen, you can clearly see he's struggling all of a sudden. Perez, his teammate's going to try and go the long way around there on the left side, and Perez goes into 2nd place. Verstappen clearly got some wing damage after that battle, and it wasn't long until he found himself in the pit lane to replace that front wing. Verstappen, not the start of the season he wants there after being in command of the majority of this race now as we come through right to the back of Vettel and Ricciardo. This was as that whole battle for the lead was happening here. I have DRS. I'm able to get past Sebastian Vettel there and alongside Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren and continue this push forward. Now, unfortunately, right here, I couldn't quite get the power down like Daniel was able to, so I have to settle for 9th place. But Pierre Gasly, our teammate, he's gotten up into 4th place after Verstappen had made his pit stop. Here's Perez now making a side-by-side lunge down into turn 1 alongside Russell. Now that Verstappen's out of the mix for the win, Perez has to step up to the plate, and he's done just that. Perez to the lead and clear of George Russell. Hamilton still down in 3rd place, but this Road to Glory is getting off to a great start for this Alpha Tauri team. Gasly in 4th, myself here in 8th, trying to make a move right here on Fernando Alonso, the 2-time champion, for 7th place. A breeze right there down into turn 1. He had no DRS. We did. We were able to pass now Alonso with 3 laps to go in this race. Coming to 2 to go. I was closing in on Leclerc. Ricciardo was on the move. He got past the Monegasque driver up into 5th place. He went, but I unfortunately just kind of ran out of pace right here in these closing laps. Final lap underway, and I know if I don't complete the pass on Leclerc here in these first 2 DRS zones, it's not going to happen in that 3rd one. So I really get closer to the back of that gearbox of the Ferrari, but unfortunately it just wasn't quite enough here in Bahrain as we get one more shot right here. But you can already see 0.6 of a second the difference between himself and I. Not a lot of ERS to overtake to work with right there, so I knew it just wasn't going to happen at this point as we went down into this right-hander. But still, P7, a nice result here as Perez will win the season opener in Bahrain. Russell and Hamilton join him on the podium. Gasly with a great start to this Road to Glory Alpha Tauri series in 4th place, and we're going to bring it home here in P7. A great way to start this Road to Glory series. Hopefully, we can continue the ladder up and get some podiums, get a race victory, and ultimately consider this series a success as we somehow manage actually to win Driver of the Day. Let's head to the podium.
Smiling faces on the pit wall after a superb win here at Sakir. And rightly so. What a brilliant effort from the whole team. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
A very, very, very nice start to this series here as Perez, Russell, Hamilton on the podium, but these two Alpha Tauris looking good. Gasly's got some really good pace that we clearly need to step up the bar a little bit to match. You see, Verstappen unfortunately ended up 19, but still ahead of Magnussen, who was dead last, unfortunately, here. Now, as we're already got some upgrades on the way, and hopefully we can bring them in the next couple of events and bring the fight towards those top 4 or 5 teams. But that overall does it for this opening episode here of this Road to Glory series with this F1 2022 mod. I hope you guys enjoyed, and make sure to give me recommendations if you maybe want to make one here of what we could do to maybe add to this series as well. But that does it for me. I will see you guys in the next one where we head to Imola there. So that's going to be a fun track, and I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching, and have yourselves a great day.